Hello, everybody. We're here today with Jesse Hutch, who one of the stars of the upcoming Hallmark movie Christmas in Toyland. Am I right?
That's right, Christmas in Toyland.
So, Jesse, tell us a bit. What's the main element in your character and the movie in the overall that fascinates you the most and drew you to join this movie?
Well, a few things came together quite quickly. So first, my agent gets an email to see if I'm available, and then at that point, I usually ask, "Well, who's doing this movie and what is it?" And as soon as I found out the team, I had worked with them before, so I already knew that I really enjoyed working with these people. So my next question was, "Well, who's going to be in the movie?" And then they told me Vanessa Lengies, which was awesome because her and I actually worked together 20 years ago on a series called American Dreams, which was on NBC. And that took place around American Bandstand. And it was all like a period piece, took place in the 1960s. So I haven't seen her since the 60s. And so for us to be able to do a movie together, I thought, well, that's cool. And I like the fact that my character owned a toy store. And they told me that I was going to have a slide in my toy store. So I was like, I'm in.
That's
And
great.
that was it. I said yes, I'll do this movie. And so you also asked me about just the script in general. So I mean, I like the aspect of bringing humor and comedy to my movies as much as I can. Sometimes they'll say no, that's too much. It's too Jim Carrey, or sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, go for it. And so this was kind of a fun script because I was able to be a kid a little bit. I mean, yes, I'm a business owner. I own a toy store, but the point of owning the toy store is so that kids can come and buy toys and enjoy Christmas and enjoy their experience of finding a toy.
Yes, absolutely. And as well as drama roles, comedic roles are also challenging for you actors. What's been the biggest challenge for you in portraying this character?
In portraying Grant in
Yeah.
Christmas in Toyland.
Yes.
I think it was just the right amount of fun challenge. I mean, Vanessa and I were really able to communicate well. And, we both had our own character points of view that we wanted to bring to the film. And so we wanted to, like, in a way, stand our ground, but we were both very open to comedy, of course. And Vanessa's really good at comedy as well. So it was fantastic for us to be able to find moments. We ended up kind of coming up with a little bit of a game on set that was, we sort of discovered that our characters were kind of like cat and mouse. It was like, okay, let's use either the physical set, like maybe there's shelves or there's trees or whatever it is. And we were always trying to sort of turn our scenes into this. I'm going to go over here and then maybe you'll follow me and then you go over there and I'll follow you. And so it was really fun to work that in. So it was kind of an unseen challenge, I suppose, which is the beauty of, I think, being a performer, is that you don't know really what's going to come out of the work you do. I mean, yes, you show up and you're prepared and you do your work so that, you don't show up and you're like, I don't know my lines. It's like you show up and you know exactly what you're doing. That allows you to play. It allows you to discover, and it allows you to sort of come up with new things and new challenges that you never even thought of.
Yes. And if you had to describe your character with three adjectives for the fans that are waiting for this movie.
Okay, three adjectives, right? I mean, uh, fun. I don't know if this isn't necessarily fits in the adjective. He's irregular. Like he doesn't fit in the box of a normal average business owner. So I don't know. Fun. Well, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on. When you just kind of do something on a whim. What is that? I'm totally blanking. You just you kind of roll with it. You're very It's right there. And it's not coming to me. Spontaneous.
Yes.
So yeah, he's fun, spontaneous, and caring, I would say, because he actually does care about the people that work for his toy store. And he wants to also protect them and help them to feed their families or keep their relationships going or pay the bills, you know?
Yes. And one of the best things of Hallmark movies is also the fact that they are pretty their characters are pretty realistic as well. Is there something in Grant's character that you see in yourself?
I think definitely the fun loving kind of goofball that comes out. Uh, I I enjoy, as you mentioned earlier, playing all aspects of characters, you know, from dramatic and serious to funny and comedic to um, sad or angry, or you know, I even play the villain. But I think for this particular character, yeah, definitely just a bit of a goofball attitude. Always was trying to find ways to kind of push the envelope of just being a leading man that's comfortable with not getting it perfect and not always saying the right things or doing the right things. I think I think that's humanity, right? It's a little more grounded. It doesn't always have to be like the perfect angle and the perfect look. And I think you just have to be you got to screw it up sometimes. I mean, that's just natural and normal. And I think people connect with that. And I love it. I think it's fun. So yeah,
Yes.
being a goofball. I mean, going down slides, playing with toys, throwing things, dressing up.
Yeah, that must have been really fun also to play.
Hmm.
And talking about the environments on set, you already mentioned you have already worked with Vanessa Lengies. And
Hmm.
how would you describe your experience on the set of Christmas in Toyland?
It was fantastic. I mean, everybody's there to make a Christmas movie, so it's not heavy, it's not serious. There's moments that we push those borders, like, okay, this is kind of an emotional moment, but we're not making anything that everyone's gonna like have to turn the movie off after and go have a good cry or watch a comedy to try and recover. It's a very fun, lighthearted, grounded uh, toy store ride. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so everybody on set was extremely cordial. Everybody did their job well. Everyone was having fun. I mean, you know, we're decorating places and singing Christmas carols, and how can you not be happy to some degree?
Yes. And talking about, especially in particular with your work with Vanessa Lengies, how was it like to work with her again?
It was fantastic. It was really cool because yeah, because we did work together, and even though it was 20 years previous, and I hadn't seen her since then, it still allowed for some form of work ethic and history to just kind of be there automatically. It was, and you know how it is when you see an old friend and you haven't seen them in a while, and then you come back, you're like, you kind of you're able to pick up a friendship, you know, and a work relationship that doesn't seem totally brand new and foreign. So it was nice to have some familiarity there. I've seen some of her work over the years, and I've always known that she's great at comedy as well as drama. And so, I mean, people have probably seen her on Disney's Turner and Hooch,
Yes.
and so I was like, all right, this is going to be fun. Like we can bounce stuff off of each other, and we did. We were constantly able to communicate and discuss, you know, what we wanted to do or not do. And I think that really helps a film is if your leads can come together and lead together. And it, I would say it works most of the time, but not always, you know, and everybody's different. Everybody has a different work ethic but she was always good. If I had a question or I was like, I don't like this line, I think it's ridiculous. What do you think? She's very open to that. So that made it super easy. We just, you know, say what's on your mind, say what's on your heart, and do the job.
Yes, that makes it very easy, I think, for an actor to have a co-star that you can rely on and while
Yeah.
discussing a scene or playing it directly.
Yeah.
And is there any fun anecdotes you recall from the filming of this movie?
Like, what do you mean?
Like fun moments on set while filming the movie in general?
Oh, okay. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's always thing. So, I mean, there's something that I like to do personally when I'm working on set is because there's always something that kind of goes wrong. You know what I mean? Like an ambulance, it makes a lot of noise, or there's people that stop by and they're playing their music, or I mean, we had crickets inside one of the buildings and we just couldn't find them. So it's like, okay, there's crickets in the building. Or maybe, I don't know, you have a set that just keeps falling over, whatever, right? It could be anything. And so I like to take responsibility for those things. And so even if it has nothing to do with me, I always blame myself. I'm like, oh, my apologies. That was my airplane that flew by, or, oh, my apologies. That was my chair that fell over. And so for me, I think that can create some fun on set where the crew starts to pick up on that and they're like, oh, okay, Jesse will take the blame, for anything that goes wrong. And I like that. It's just some little goofball thing that I do as an actor. But for me, I remember those things because other people, I think, start to get into it as well. So they'll start joking around on set, and sometimes we play pranks on one another.
Yes. And instead, throwing back to the origins of your career, how did the passion for acting come about in your life?
Uh, I was always the kid who really enjoyed watching movies. Never, as I got older, did I ever think I would actually make movies. That was a total sideswipe to me. I didn't go to school for it. I wasn't interested in theater. I didn't take acting classes. Just nothing. I liked watching movies and collecting the posters, and that was it. So for me, I would say, in a nutshell version, it was years of me starting to sort of get my foot in the water and discover and try new things and audition and get feedback and book work and all these sort of natural progressions of cutting your teeth in the business, so to speak. And I think through years and years of that helped me realize and recognize more and more that I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep trying this. I want to go towards that. And to a degree, I'm still doing that. I'm still learning. I would like to direct more. So that's led to more writing because I don't want to sit around and wait for someone to give me an opportunity. Writing has led me to producing because I don't want to sit around and wait for someone to sort of take a chance on a first time writer. And so I've had to put on a number of different hats along the way, and I'm still doing that. And I'm now trying to really focus in and hone on what am I good at and how do I find other people that are good at what they do, and we build a team and we move forward. I hope that makes some sense.
Yes, absolutely. And is there you mentioned you're passionate about directing. Is there any director you particularly love?
There's a bunch of different directors that I can appreciate for different reasons. Guy Ritchie, Christopher Nolan, J.J. Abrams, um, Zack Snyder. I just watched something that he did. So there's varying reasons for why I like each of those directors. But yeah, I'd love to work with some of those folks one day. And I just love directing because as an actor, you're in front of the camera. But I mean, so far for me, it's been 21 years of being around people that are really good at what they do. And I just kind of get to stand there and be like, hey, can I ask you a question about that camera or that lens or that gel or what's the name of that dolly? Why are we using that steady cam arm versus this one? Just I've been able to learn a lot over the years, and because I'm around it, I believe that as a lead actor, you should lead people, and I think that transition into directing can be very helpful and is useful in many many ways because you need to understand people, you need to respect them and what they do, you need to understand what they do just enough so that you can allow them to be guided and directed to come together on a team and make a project. So yeah, I'm excited about continuing that venture in that part of my career. And as I mentioned, I've been developing some of my own projects. So to direct, and some of them I've directed and acted in and produced. And I'm not saying that's the best, because you just keep putting these hats on, and eventually you're like, and
Yeah.
you're doing all these things. But there's a time. I mean, if you got to get it done, you need to get it done. You can't sit around and complain and cry and wait and make excuses. You have to keep moving. And so sometimes it's a slow uphill climb, and sometimes things just find a flow and they start rolling. But either way, what do, right? You either sit down and cry about it, or you get up and keep going.
Work is always the best solution, I think.
Yeah, I mean, work towards something.
Exactly.
And there's always something good to be found, even in things that quote unquote fail. And I mean, unless you fail, then you haven't really tried. And we've all seen the TikToks and the memes, and I mean, it's out there. So to read it and see it is one thing, but to do it is another. You have to risk. You need to, and especially being creative, I think, I mean, musicians, artists, actors, stunt performers, directors, anybody who does anything that you say, hey, here it is, and you show it to the world, you've now put yourself in a position of criticism, and people who can either lift you up with their words or they'll cut you down. And you need to be prepared for both of those things. And you can't let that totally destroy you either. So take it all with a grain of salt, be appreciative and thankful for the people that do support and do uplift along the way. And to be honest, some of the best growth I've done is through the hardest times that were just brutal. And you come out the other side and you go, oh, okay, I've learned a lot more from that, right? There's a proverb that says, it's better to be at a funeral than a party. And the reason I like that is because when you're at a party, it's great and all to have fun and be at parties. I'm not saying don't have a party, but when you're at a funeral, you really reflect at a funeral. You really think about your life. You think about your time. You think about the people that are in your life. You think about the people that aren't in your life anymore. I mean, that's a pressure cooker of, I think, growth. And when you're at a party, you don't always get that. You always say, yeah, everything's good. Oh yeah, I got food and I got drink and everything's fine. And like I said, there's a time and a place for that. But I do believe that you'll grow more at a funeral than you ever will at a party.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with this with this thought in general. And to conclude our interview today, I'd like to ask you a question that we always ask to the people we're interviewing, is that if you had to give an advice to people, young people or people in general among our readers that want to pursue an acting career or a directing career, which kind of advice would you give them?
It's a great question, because I often think about what have I learned that I wish I would have known in the beginning. And I mean, there's a lot that I think people can pass on. I think your moral boundaries are important. And I think that you need to examine those the best that you can. Because if you don't know where you stand and you don't know what you believe in, the film industry will attempt to tell you those things, and they will attempt to put you where they want to put you. And some you can prepare for ahead of time, and others you have no idea. Like nudity, you could say, hey, I'm drawing a hard line in the sand. I will not do this. Other things you might not even expect. You have no idea that you needed to think about this potential situation, and that's okay. Roll with it as it happens. But I always use this as an example. This was about 3 years into my career, and someone was like, hey, would you make out with an animal? And I was like a real animal or a fake animal? Not that that matters, but I was trying to get to the bottom of this. And they were like, no, like a horse. Like, would you? And I was like, no, thanks. I had to make the decision. I didn't think of that ahead of time. I didn't think anybody would ever ask me that. So I only use it as an example, as some you can prepare for and some you can't. But always be mindful of what your personal boundaries are, with your body, physically, emotionally, types of projects you want to do that you don't want to do. And I mean, there's a lot more things that you can learn. I think one of the big things as well is just go and do what you want to do. So don't wait. Don't think that there's kind of one avenue, and if you do this, you're gonna boom, you're a big star all of a sudden. Know that you need to put in hard work, and you need to go for what you want to go for. So if you want to be a writer, just start writing. If you want to be a director, start directing. And if you want to be a painter, start painting. You don't need to wait for someone else's approval. You don't need to have that PhD. You don't. Now, yes, you can go and get those things. That could be absolutely helpful to your direction. So if you feel that's where you need to go, then go do it. But don't let it shut you down or slow you down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just go for it and have fun, because there's so many avenues and options that you definitely need to find moments to have fun. Because if you're not having any fun, then I guarantee you no one else is having fun watching you. No one's having fun around you. So just go for it.
That's a beautiful answer. Thank you for sharing it with us. I think many people will appreciate your words and take advantage of it in their work.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's all for us. Thank you so much, Jesse, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to chat.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by.
Let's remind people that Christmas in Toyland premieres July 23, I think.
Mm-hmm. Am I doing that right on your end? 20, or is that
25?
Did I reverse it?
No.
I can't tell what way it is. 23rd.
23rd.
And I mean, I'm on Instagram all the time too, so I'll be posting about things as we get closer.
And we can't wait to see your amazing work. I think the movie will be really fun for us to watch.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it will be. So let me know what you think after you see it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.